Welcome back, everyone. It's the Bourbon Judge. Before we dive into today's episode, let's go ahead and kick it off with, let's just call it housekeeping judge updates. So number one, just got back from Kentucky, did a barrel pick over at Wild Turkey. We did 2 barrel picks, and this was a joint pick, again, with my really good friends, SLB Drinks, so Trenton and Kurt, as well as Josh and Aaron from Stuff and Whiskey. So Stuff and Whiskey, as well as SLB Drinks, we had honestly a blast. I wish we had even longer to hang out because it was just such a great experience. I love those 2 channels. So if you haven't had a chance, please make sure you guys check out SLB Drinks as well as Stuff and Whiskey, my really good friends. So I do appreciate them, and we had a blast picking those 2 barrels for our patrons, and it was definitely a good time. Let's just say that it was a good time. But overall, definitely enjoyed Kentucky, hanging out with Mrs. Judge, going to various different distilleries, meeting people. Like I met a really cool couple at the Evan Williams experience, and they came up to like, "Oh, Judge, we watched the channel." We honestly had a blast. Like I love that kind of stuff, and it was really cool. So really enjoyed meeting with everyone. I had a chance actually to do a patron meetup as well. So some of my patrons, we all got together. And oddly enough, one of our, good friend of the channel as well, our good friend Bob from Foregate. So Bob was able to come over. We shared some pours, some stories, laughed a little bit. So I definitely appreciate Bob from Foregate taking time out of his day to kind of come and hang out with our patrons as well. So that was like a super epic patron only meetup. So definitely a lot of fun from that standpoint. So thanks again, Bob, as well for all my patrons that made it out as well. We had a blast. Speaking of also from a barrel pick standpoint, so I just released, which is what I'm sipping right now, just released my Starlight Honey Finish. So that is available to my patrons. It's through our good partner over at Shared Pour. So if you're interested in becoming a patron, just go ahead and check us out over on Patron.com. But again, that Starlight Honey Finish, this bad boy is quite delicious, quite delicious. But patrons, we have some new patrons to welcome. We actually have about 7 new patrons to go ahead and welcome to the channel. So let's go ahead and welcome our good friends Cibolo Dave, Brian Parker, David Burkett, Gary Langford, Michael Dishler, Durf Reese, and then last but not least, A to Z Whiskey, aka Anthony Z. So thank you all for becoming patrons, for supporting the Bourbon Judge, and as we say, welcome to the Judge family. So really appreciate the support of all our new patrons, as well as everyone who's been with me for a long time as well. Thank you all for supporting the Judge, as well as all the subscribers also. All right, so I'm in Kentucky with Mrs. Judge, and this whole concept of today's episode, 5 whiskeys that are just not for me, kind of came to me. So when I think of these, number one, I'm not, saying anything bad about these brands, just being very transparent, right? These are just ones where they just do not align to my palate. So for me, they do not align to my palate. You might love them, and that's the cool thing about whiskey, is that, what I might love, another whiskey person might dislike, and vice versa. So for these are 5 that just do not align with the Judge. I've either had the bottles before, or I've definitely tried them in a bar, and there's 1 or 2 that I won't try just because of the price is just insane. But for the most part, when I was in Kentucky, I had a chance to try most of these. And again, the verdict is in. I can give it to you right now. These whiskeys are just not for me. But let me go through and I'll tell you the reason why. Is that fair? All right. So I'm going to give you these whiskeys and the reason why they're not for me. So number 1 is going to be Basil Hayden's. Basil Hayden's is you think of the brand and so forth. The brand is obviously very well known. A lot of people really enjoy Basil Hayden's. But for me, I just think it honestly lacks quality. There are a lot of other good whiskeys out there, bourbons, that are good whiskey at the exact same price point, that varies different, like Wild Turkeys or Knob Creeks, whatever it might be, that in my opinion, I would grab every single day before I ever grab a Basil Hayden's. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the yeast strain they're using. Not really sure. But Basil Hayden's, to me, the quality is just not there. Not there. The next one. This one, I'm going to, I had to give this one the Heisman only because of the price point. So Augusta Buckner's. Now, granted, I understand they have really big age statements, 13, 14, whatever plus years. But price-wise, you're talking $500 for, yes, 1 bottle. I said $400 or $500 for 1 bottle. I can't get down with that. I'm sorry. I mean, $400 or $500. I mean, gosh, for $400 or $500, I might as well go ahead and buy two of like maybe like some of the other brands that I've trusted before, and I can get 2 bottles. I can get a couple Old Carters, I can get a couple Found Norths, and I can even get a couple bottles of Foregate rather than just getting 1 Augusta Buckner's. I mean, I understand like the higher age statements, premium whiskey and so forth, but $400 or $500, that is just where I just draw the line. I'm sorry. I can't go there because of the price. I truly can't, honestly. The next one, oh man, I've now tried this on, I think this is, the second or third occasion. And it's just, I just can't. I'm sorry. Hidden Barn. I love the whole concept behind Hidden Barn. I love what the team there is doing and so forth, trying to, just bring everything back. I love the concept. I really do. But to me, the whiskey, it just tastes a little too young, in my opinion. And maybe it's just a little off. Maybe with future batches, it'll get better. But I've tried what they have available thus far. And for me, for my personal palate, it's just hitting the miss. So that's number 3, Hidden Barn. It's just missing something. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Before we get to number 4, 3 quick easy favors. Number 1, hit the like button. Number 2, drop me a comment. Let me know, are there certain whiskeys that just do not align with your palate? And tell me the reason why. Maybe it's just too young or too grainy, whatever it might be. Last but not least, please make sure you also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you get notification each and every time I release new content. Cool? All right. Coming in the number 4 spot. I know a lot of my patrons, let's just say we are definitely on the same level playing field when we agree with this one for sure. Castle and Key. I don't know what is going on with the Castle and Key whiskey, but it is just off. Again, this is just my personal opinion. It's off. I can't tell if it's just too young, if it's too grainy. It's definitely off, like in a very bad way, but I don't know what it is. Again, try it in a bar. What I might dislike, you may try it in a bar and say, you know what, Judge, you're going crazy. I love Castle Key. It's the best thing since sliced bread. Hey, we're all different. That's the cool thing about life and also with the whiskey world as well. But try Castle Key. To me, Castle Key number 4, it's just plain off. All right, coming in the number 5 spot. So number 5 is not so much, actually, the whiskey is actually not bad. It really isn't, actually. I had a while ago, like their Master's Blend, and that was pretty good, actually. I did enjoy that one. But everything else that I've had from this brand, I always felt that it was just, meh, just so-so, right? And if I'm buying a bottle of whiskey, even for $50, $60, $70, I actually really want it to be very, very good. So the number 5 one is Bullet. And I'm saying Bullet everything. I did like the Master's edition a while back, but everything else from Bullet, I just always kind of find that it's just so-so. I'd rather go buy, I don't know, a bottle of Sagamore or Pikesville if I'm in the rye category. Or from a bourbon standpoint, give me like a Russell's Pick. Or give me like a Knob Creek, even like the Knob Creek 8-9 years. I'll take that every day and all day over any Bullet product. I don't know. I think of Bullet, I just think of just so-so. Decent. So not bad, just decent. So, but if I'm sipping whiskey, I want to actually enjoy it. So I want something that is like memorable. So that is the reason why I had to add Bullet to the list. All right, let me go ahead and get a little quick sip of whiskey. It's been a long day and a long trip back from Kentucky. Oh man, honestly, the Patron meetup and the barrel pick with SLB drinks and stuff and whiskey. Oh gosh, that was like the highlight of the trip. Just had so much fun hanging out with my patrons, as well as hanging out with Josh and Aaron from Stuff and Whiskey, as well as Trenton and Kurt. We had such a blast. Bruce over at Wild Turkey took care of us, and so again, huge shout out to the team at Wild Turkey, as well as our good friends over at Keg and Bottle who helped to set that up for us as well. All right, cheers. Woo! Our Starlight Honey pick, that is flat out amazing. Patrons, we did a great job with that barrel pick. All right. Coming in the next to last spot, so we got 2 more. Oh boy. So these 2, I don't know, maybe people will agree or disagree. We shall see. This brand, I feel like their lower price whiskeys are just okay. But if you want something that is pretty decent, from what I've heard, I've actually have not had their upper tier stuff. But if you want their good stuff, like the stuff that's like aged 20 years, age stated on the bottle, you're paying a lot of money. That would be none other than Chicken Cock. So Chicken Cock, aged 20 years, a $500 bottle. Again, why am I paying $500 when I can get, I don't know, 10 bottles of like Sagamore, Pikesville, or, you know, a Barstown? $500, that's a lot of cash for one bottle. Uno. A lot of money. I'm just saying, Chicken Cock, right? That's it. I'm not saying that your whiskey's bad. I'm just saying $500 is a lot of cash to throw out your pockets for one bottle. All right. Last but not least, what else made this list? This is the last brand. So not just one bottle from the brand, but the last brand. To me, this brand, I think back when a certain individual was there, the whiskey was definitely really, really good. Now that individual is no longer there, and what they put out recently, like the Takumi, like the Red Label edition, the St. Patrick's Day edition. Yep, you got it. None other than Kentucky Owl. To me, for the price point of most of their products, $150, $200, for what you're actually getting, they do not align. There's something off. Again, I don't mind spending $150, $200 on a bottle, right? I buy Foul North all the time. I do buy Oak Carter. I buy Foregate. But I typically am happy with what I purchase. And I actually typically very thrilled with it, honestly. I've tried the Kentucky Owl products at that $150 price point. Thank goodness, at a bar. And I'm like, there's something missing. There's something missing. I don't know what it is. So that is the last one on the list. And I'm like, you know what? Has me shaking my head. So for me, Kentucky Owl, I can't mess with it. It's just not for me. Hey friends, until the next time, peace, cheers, and most important, salute.